Starting the YouTube. So just give me a second. Okay, I'm going to share my screen. Can everyone see the screen? Hello?
Yes, we can see
Yes,
you.
we can see the screen.
Okay, there's some problem here. Let me just, okay. Just a second. This is not the method I want. Hold on a second. Share screen. Okay, now you can see the screen, right?
Yes.
Okay, perfect. Sorry for the delay. It took much longer than I thought. So we'll be looking at a couple of verses. See, I was doing some more research into presenting Shankarabhashya. That's why it took much longer. Wanted you to sort of understand, let's get, all of us should get a very good concept of Shankarabhashya. That's why I took time, and I also consulted with some experts I knew in Shankarabhashya. We learned from them, and so I'm going to talk about this today. Okay. So this particular verse, Veda vinashinam nityam ya enam ajamavyam katham sapurusha partha kam ghateti handikam. A simple meaning here is, one who knows the Jiva, the Atma is eternal and it's unchanging. How can that person kill somebody or assist someone to be killed? Kam ghateti, get someone killed. Right? This is the idea in the Bhagavad Gita. Here, Shankaracharya comes up with the idea that a Vidvān should give up all karmas. And who is a Vidvān? We'll get to that. So all Vedic karmas are prescribed for the ignorant. For a jnani, he has to give up the karmas. This is the idea. Who is a Vidvān? Any idea? Who is a Vidvān? Any answers? I want to make it interactive because I want you people to understand this concept. This is not a one-way stream, because it's not going to work out eventually if we don't get the concepts together.
Yo vetis a Vidvān. So one who knows is Vidvān, but knows means knows experientially.
Okay. Experiential what?
The experience the Atman itself.
Experience is Atman is Vidvān, okay. Avidvān or ignorant one is?
Who either has just the book knowledge or not even that.
Okay. We'll take further what this difference is. In one portion of the Bhashya, Shankara, see, Vidvān and Avidvān are explained in different terms in Shankarabhashya. If you look at the Shankarabhashya, for all the Prasthanatraya Bhashyas, it's explained in different ways. Here, Shankaracharya explains, one who feels that he is the doer, he is an ignorant one. If somebody feels, I am doing this, I am a doer, this is for me, I want this. The concept of I, he establishes, that is, it is established in himself. That is, so if he feels that he is an agent, then he is an ignorant person. For him, all the vidhis are prescribed. The person who does not feel that he is a doer, he is a jnani, he does not have to do any work because no work is prescribed for him, because he realizes that he's a non-doer. He's not an agent of anything around him. This is a very difficult concept, but thing is, you will get to know very easily. We have already gone through Shankarabhashya many times in the past, so we'll go a little bit clear on this.
Krishna, Suresh here.
Yes.
Can we take Vidvān as a monk?
Monk is a very general. See, if I
based on the view of Shankara.
Instead of this black shirt I'm wearing, if I wear a yellow robe, am I a monk?
No, what I'm trying to tell is one who is a sannyasi. Usually in Shankara's Bhashya, a sannyasi gives up all karmas.
See, we have to come back and think about who is this sannyasi, right? See, you should not take what we know as sannyasi as somebody taking a robe as a sannyasi. We should not feed information into Shankaracharya's Bhashya. We have to derive from Shankaracharya's Bhashya what he means, right?
Okay.
Let's go a little bit further. See, how can a person knows that he is not a doer, right? So, think about, suppose I read the Shastras. In the Shastras, it says, na jayate mriyate va kadachete, or thing is, ajo nityaha shashvatoyam puranaha. All these statements I read. Then I think that, oh, this is a constant one which does not change, which is all pervasive. This Atman, here Atman means Paramatma or Brahman for Shankaracharya. See, everywhere Shankaracharya means Atman has only one thing, that is Brahman, right? So for him, suppose I read the Shastras and I read second chapter, then I say, okay, there's one constant thing, that is Nitya, that is Atman, that is Brahman. So if I know that I am that, I don't have to work, because Brahman is Nishkriya, Avikriya, non-changing, non-acting. So, but here I have not realized yet, but I firmly believe, based on a very powerful assessment, knowledge of the Shastras, I believe that I am that Brahman. If I believe that, even I can give up karmas. So there are two types of people who can give karmas. One who is a very realized person, who is Vidvān. Vidvān is a realized person, that means he knows himself that he is Brahman and nothing else. Other things don't exist. Or we'll come to that a little bit later. That is Vidvān. And I told long time back, that is, for a great yogi, when his mother passed away, he could not do the rites because he was completely in samadhi. The moment he said Achyutaya Namah, the water was poured, and he just went into samadhi because he was completely focused on Parabrahman. Such a person is a Vidvat Sannyasi, right? There is another level of Vidvat Sannyasi, that is who is closely to, he is realized, but he can act in the world like a Janaka Maharaja. He can verily act in the world, but he is completely realized that he is not acting. But what is happening means is a remnant karmas making this body work till the prarabdha karma is completely burnt up. So for a few more years or whatever, this body will continue. So a person who is very realized, but still he can be acting. He does not have to be a sannyasi, by the way. He can be right in he could be married. He could be, he could be married, and he could have, he could be even a king or something. Anything he can do, but he's still a realized person. So he does not have the agency of that. He is the doer. He does not have that agency. So this realization and conviction are two things. In the beginning, somebody will have conviction. Maybe after studying properly, thinking about life, and then think that, okay, all that exists is Brahman, nothing else is real. Suppose he thinks like that, he understands like that. That is a conviction. From conviction, the person can go into realization. Your point is well taken. Is he a monk? See, according to Shankarabhashya, a lot focus points towards the monk, but the people who are Advaitis, the current day Advaitis, they think that this also refers to a person like Krishna, for example, Lord Krishna. See, Shankaracharya very clearly says Lord Krishna is Saguna Brahman. But for a moment, let us take Lord Krishna. He is like a, great jnani. So that person can be very involved in everything. That is in marriage, in samsara, but the person is still Atmajnani. So in Advaita, in Shankarabhashya, there is tolerance and leeway and scope for all these meanings to be assigned. Any question till now? Clear?
Can you give an example of Vidvat Sannyasi in today's world?
People say Ramakrishna Paramahamsa was like a Vidvat Sannyasi. According to, see, we are talking about Vidvat Sannyasi, Vividisha Sannyasi, more with respect to Advaita tradition in mind, right? Please take away anything else in your mind. Only think about Advaita Sannyasis. Advaita Sannyasis, people like Ramana Maharshi, they say, Ramana Maharshi is a clear example of Vidvat Sannyasi, right? So these people really existed. They do probably even know exist. They are there somewhere. They will not say that he is so and so. I'm a Vidvat Sannyasi. See, one more thing is, if somebody says, I am going to take up sannyasa and I'm going to give up all karmas, if he mentally thinks that I'm going to give up karmas, I'm going to give up all these karmas, he is not a jnani.
He's still thinking he's the
For a jnani, the karmas have to go away directly from, even if he wants to do karma, the karmas will go away. He cannot act anymore. Like the Ramakrishna Paramahamsa, what I told about that, the episode of he couldn't do any karma because his mind was totally absorbed in Brahman. That's one Vidvat Sannyasi, right?
Okay, thank you.
Okay, but there could be Vidvat Sannyasis like Lord Krishna. Like Lord Krishna, there may be many Vidvat Sannyasis who are actually acting. Actually, what?
Hello.
Yes.
Thinking of Bhagavan Krishna and people who are actually doing this Loka Sangraha, aren't they really unique? Because while these Gnanis are totally immersed in the self, they are not only immersed in the self, but they can also act in this world. Aren't they really unique?
I didn't get your question. Please repeat.
No, I'm just thinking that Bhagavan Krishna and people who are actually doing this Loka Sangraha, they seem to be really quite unique in the sense that they not only are immersed in they're not only immersed in their self, but they're also acting here.
They're unique.
Which may not be possible for everybody. I mean, that's really a unique quality.
Definitely, it's a very unique quality. It is not easy. And that's exactly why some people may just fool somebody that he is a jnani, right? And he could be doing everything like everybody else, but he could fool somebody, right? This is a possibility. So one has to really understand a person before assuming that that person is a jnani. See, what we know is people who have been with Ramana Maharshi, who have been with Ramakrishna Paramahamsa, they've experienced some really, really powerful things about these people. That's why they say that, okay, these are jnanis.
Yeah, when you were telling that somebody actually goes into samadhi for months together, at the same time, Bhagavan is in that samadhi state, but yet he can actually act here. That uniqueness is there with Bhagavan.
Yes, yes. That is known as Sahaja Samadhi, and some people claim to have Sahaja Samadhi. And I even know some people like that. I cannot talk about them, but the things I'm just telling you.
Okay.
Okay? Yeah.
Krishnaji's in here. A common example that was taught to me with regards to this was the example of a cucumber fruit. You must have heard about it, where, like, compared to other trees where the fruit falls off, here the plant withdraws from the fruit while the fruit stays where it is. The fruit never moves, but the plant moves away by withdrawing itself from the fruit once it's matured. And so Sannyasi's situation is that of a cucumber fruit. Well, there is a potential to act because the fruit can make another cucumber plant. The fruit doesn't move, fruit doesn't act, but the plant acts. That's the example that I was given in this situation.
See, I think you are mentioning this cucumber, the moment you mention cucumber, this is actually the explanation of a mantra, Trambakam Yajamahe, Sugandhim Pushtivardhanam, Urvarukam Iva Bandhanatam, Mrityor Mukshiya Memrata. Wait a minute. Mrityor Mukshiya Mamritat. That is what is. I see there are some people say Memrata, some people say Mamritat. I forgot the right version. I'm sorry. I will check and let you know. But Urvarukam iva bandhanatam mrityor mukshiya is what the second sentence is. Urvaruka is that melon fruit. They say, some people say cucumber, some people say some kind of melon. Urvarukam iva bandhanatam mrityor mukshiya. See, what happens is the farmer goes to the fields and he tries to pick up cucumber or other melon, whatever. If it is too hard for him, he will not pick up because that's not mature. Right? Only when it is really mature, that is the melon is mature, he doesn't have to even separate it. If he touches it, falls off. So only when I am mature, oh Lord, take me when I am mature. That is what that shloka says, that Trambakam yajamahe sugandhim pushtivardhanam urvarukam iva bandhanaat mrityor mukshi yamamritaat. That's what it says. I think you are referring to this. Are you?
That one comes in Rudram, Krishnaji. But this was just an example with regards to attachment and non-attachment that was given to me by my grandpa. I'm not too sure if he used that as a reference, but generally, Parangi Chedi is like, Veldri Chedi is like where all the cucumbers are on the ground. It's not hanging from somewhere, right? So when the plant is attached to the cucumber the whole time, the cucumber is still on the ground. But when the cucumber becomes a fruit, the plant withdraws from the fruit itself. The plant is considered as the world and the attachment. And then the cucumber is considered as you. And then when you're mature enough, the attachment withdraws itself. You don't withdraw from the attachment.
That's a good point. That's a good point. This is similar to saying the karmas leave the person, but he never left the karmas. That's a good point. My analogy was not exactly appropriate for this, but slightly connected, but a little far away. Okay? Can we go further?
Sure, Krishnaji.
Yeah. So now comes the next point. See, I'm actually reaffirming and reviewing Advaita concepts so that people understand Advaita concepts properly. Here, Vakyartha Janya Jnanat Moksha is one concept. What does it mean? By knowing the meaning of a sentence, one gets moksha. We talked about it early. What it means is, say somebody says Tattvamasi, Aham Brahmasmi. If you study this and the moment you are a sincere student, okay, yes, you get an idea. If you are a very advanced student, you can even get realization right at that moment. For a very well-developed, spiritually advanced person, all that person has to realize is Tattvamasi. Just if he hears that from a guru, the person realizes that he is Brahman. So that is Vakyartha Jnanyat Moksha. That means, so how does this really occur in reality? In reality, what happens is a person, just like you and me, somebody is there, he grows up a little bit, and then he studies Shastras. In the Shastras, they say, you are Brahman. Then this person says, he doesn't really realize at that point, but he firmly starts believing, oh, am I Brahman? Oh, I'm not this world. I'm not these ups and downs. I'm not these problems in this universe. All I am is peaceful Brahman. If the person slowly gets a conviction very hard, really powerful conviction, that person is ready for a Vividesha Sannyasa. That means he says that, look, I'm not interested in this world anymore. I'm not interested in these actions. I give up these actions. And he will take the orange robes. He will become a sannyasi, or he will become close to a sannyasi, even though he is married, or even though he is in this samsara. He starts disassociating himself from all attachments mentally. Right? That is a Vividisha Sannyasa. And then eventually that can become Vidvat Sannyasa. We talked about the Vidvat Sannyasa before. Now, so one who has a conviction that Tattvamasi, oh, I know that Brahman is, I am Brahman, but thing is, he has not realized yet. If he has not realized, he can continue to repeat the Mahavakyas. That is, say the Mahavakyas. Avritti means repetition. He can do repetition, and eventually he can realize Parabrahman by repetition. For example, let's take an example, right? Vividisha Sannyasa could be taken as, today, when I was young, as a little boy, like, 5-year-old boy or something, I was playing marbles. Now do I play marbles? I gave up. So what happens, that's not interesting to me. That's not even what I want. I want to do something. I want to do something else. So you grow out of it. Similarly, a person can right here give up all karmas. Initially, he may think that he is an agent. He wants swarga. He wants, I want to do a putra kameshti yaga because I want to get a child, or I want to do some yajna to get wealth or something. So these persons will do Vaidika karmas, but later on they realize that is not good because that is not a permanent goal. Permanent goal is Atma Sakshatkara. So the person will give up all the yajna yagadis and karmas. So even a Vividisha Sannyasi, that means a person who has firm conviction that he is not the agent, can give up karmas. This is a very special Advaitic view. This is not agreed upon by the other systems, but I'm just telling you. Just to know that, see, Vishishtadvaita and Dvaita believe in a different system. We already talked about it, but we are talking about Advaita. Similarly, the Vividisha Sannyasa can be even explained in another example. These two examples were given to me by a friend of mine. He is known as Sri Narasimha Prabhu, very well known. He is a very great person. He talked to me today and he gave me these two examples. Suppose a person wants to become a rank holder in a college. He has not become a rank holder yet, or he wants to be the topper in the college, topper in the university or something. He wants to study hard. What he will do, he will give up movies. He will give up, sports or something to an extent, reduces his sports. So he starts giving up a lot of things to achieve something, right? Similar to that, a Vividisha Sannyasi can give up Veda Vihita karmas. Even though they are Vihita in the Vedas, he can give up and take up sannyasa. That is the Advaitic view here. Only certain very special people can, with samskaras, can hear Mahavakyas once and they will attain Atma Sakshatkara right here. That is what Advaita says. So I come back here.
Krishna, Ashok here. I have a quick question. See, what is the connection between moksha and sannyasa? I mean, to me, necessarily a sannyasi need not attain moksha, right? Why are we trying to link these two entities? I'm still a bit confused here.
Okay. We are all talking about Advaita now, right? Because every system
Correct.
has a different view, right?
Correct.
Okay, this is Advaita now. See, in Advaita, moksha comes eventually only for a person who has given up karmas and all associations, right? So
Yeah, true.
in other words, he's a sannyasi. The person who is a kami or kamya karma or who has attractions, desires, anger, all these things, he will not get moksha.
Okay, I'll quote some examples in real life. Okay, for the say, I'm not able to get the name of the person who constructed this Bhadrachala Rama. Okay, he was a family man. He was just behind Rama. He constructed the Bhadrachalam Rama temple, and he was offered moksha. So he was necessarily not a sannyasi. So it does not mean that just sannyasis who can give up karmas can attain moksha, right? I mean,
Sure.
that's my point of view. Probably we can debate that. So I'm talking about somebody who is in the recent past.
See, sannyasi means don't think of an orange robe. The moment I say sannyasi, don't think of the robe. Think of the mentality of the person. If he has given up all karmas, mean again I told you there are two types of sannyasis in a way, right? There are sannyasis like Krishna, sannyasis like Janaka Maharaja, who are verily in this world. They act, they do many things, but still they have no connection to actions. They are not thinking that he is the doer. I want this fruit. They don't have attachment to the fruits of actions. Understand? So that person is also a sannyasi. Bhadratra Ramadas or whoever you're mentioning, maybe they were what do you call actually verily acting in this world, may not have orange robes, but they are totally mentally offered themselves. They don't have agency that they're doing something. Everything is being done by the Lord, kind of a thing. They will have that mentality.
But do we call them as sannyasis? I mean, that is my question. See, because we never call Bhakta Ramadas as sannyasi.
You are confusing the ashrama. If somebody formally accepts sannyasa and uses an orange robe, that person is a formal sannyasi according to you, right? There may be a person like Jada Bharata of the Mahabharata. He never took sannyasa, but he was a sannyasi. Do you
Okay.
understand?
Yeah.
He was verily, Jadabharata was like anybody else. He was misused by his own brothers, relatives. They used to make him, do all chores. He was acting like a mad person because he was completely experiencing Atman while he is doing anything. He didn't even care of eating. He didn't even care for earning. Other people used to throw food, whatever leftover food they had, they used to throw him just for looking, oh my God, let him not die. Take it, take it. Like a beggar they treated. But he never worried about what he ate, what he did not. He said that I'm somehow surviving. God is making me survive. I will only, I'm enjoying God. I don't even know other things. Why are you bothering me? I'm not hungry. So his view was different. That person, even though he did not have formal sannyasa, is a sannyasi. In Shankaracharya's lecture, in Shankaracharya's Bhashya, the word is truly meant. Sannyasi means who does Ishanatraya Vinirmuktaha, Putreshana, Vitteshana, Lokaishana. Ishanatraya Vimukta means Putreshana means desire to have children. That includes all the other things which go with it, right? Putreshana, Vitteshana, desire to have money. It goes with everything, all the work and planning and everything he has to do that. Lokeshana means to become famous. He will always want to become famous. All these three they give up. Vithaya, Bhikshacharyam Charanti. They will just revel in Brahmajnana and then just survive with just somebody giving food to him. That person is known as a sannyasi for Shankaracharya. That person is a Sita Prajna. So that person is ready for Brahma Nirvana, which is becoming Brahman according to Shankaracharya. Understand?
See, even Sankaracharya, okay, gave up everything at the age of 7 to become a sannyasi. So if you just read, he wore a orange robe, and all these days we had been only thinking wearing a orange robe is going to be a sannyasi. See, my question is, he could have well become a married person and he could have practiced that, right? Why are we? I mean, if he, I mean, is
No.
he doing something and practicing something? I mean, telling something and practicing something else?
He's
Hold on a second. See, the thing is, here, sannyasa is sannyasa ashrama is different from sannyasa, sannyasa as a characteristic. Sannyasa ashrama means taking the orange robe is a sannyasa ashrama. There are grihastha brahmacharya, grihastha vanaprastha and sannyasa. There are 4 ashramas. There are 4 stages of life, and they formally take these stages. Do you understand? That is sannyasa
Yeah,
ashrama.
correct.
Shankaracharya, when he talks about the Shankaracharya took sannyasa ashrama, there was a reason for it. Because he was living in a land where Buddhism was dominant. According to Buddhists, you have to become a monk to achieve perfection. So he wanted to become just exactly what they wanted, and he wanted to change their mind to believe in Brahman, because the Buddhists did not believe in Brahman; they believed in nothing. They believed that everything is nothing, basically, right? There are different forms of Buddhism. Anatma, that means there is nothing permanent, according to some view of Buddhism. Shankaracharya took the ashrama to change the world. He wanted, because sannyasa ashrama has some value in public. A person can be like, he could have become like Jadabharata if he did not want to become famous. He wanted to change the world. He wanted to interact with the world and influence the world. Jadabharata did not want to. Do you understand?
Yeah, I understand.
Okay, so but mental sannyasa is what is meant in the Shastras, and when Shankaracharya writes about he writes about in Bhagavad Gita, Bhashya and all, here sannyasa does not mean just taking up the roots. I can, without knowledge, without maturity, without giving up my bad anger, desire, and all those things, I could just go to the store tomorrow and buy an orange robe.
He was a
And
king.
then come home and say, oh, I took sannyasa.
Just to listen to Bhagavata. But we don't know if he got moksha or not. He got liberation.
Hello? Can you hear me?
Yeah, we can hear you, Krishna. Please
Yes,
proceed.
I can hear you.
So can we go further?
Yeah.
Okay.
Yes, please.
See, a jnani can be doing all the works. See, in the next, in one of the verses, Hatva picha iman lokan nakaroti nanipyate. There is a verse in Bhagavad Gita. Even if he kills everybody, he has not done anything. He is not tainted by anything. So this person does not have the feeling that I am the doer. God is doing everything, that according to him. God means here Brahman. So a jnani can be doing all actions like others, but he may be feeling that I'm not doing anything, I'm not the doer. So if one person is a jnani, he can give up karmas. He should not be doing karmas. He should take up sannyasa, means karma sannyasa. Karma sannyasa means giving up actions, giving up vaidika karmas. that does not mean that anybody can leave the karmas and say that he's a jnani. Because if he has bad qualities like anger, desire, goal-orientedness, interest in the fruits of actions, he's not a jnani. This is what we have to understand. Not all sannyasis are equal. There are a million grades of just a second, imperfect vividisha sannyasis to perfect vidvat sannyasis. What I mean by, somebody can just be, one day he had a big fight with his wife, and it was like really bitter fight. Next day he woke up and said, I'll take up sannyasi. So I'll become a sannyasa. I'll become a sannyasi. I'll take the orange robe. He goes and, okay, I gave up because I am now a realized person. And he can go and he can go after other women afterwards also. That means he's an imperfect sannyasi, even though he's just taking ashrama. The ashrama doesn't mean anything. So vividisha sannyasi is how much knowledge this person has, how much perfection he has, it all depends. That is why people are careful to give not anybody can come and become a sannyasi. He will be evaluated unless he has the power to do himself, right? Some people may have the power to just take up sannyasa just like that. And they may or may not be really mature. They may not be perfect. So one has to evaluate sannyasis. I'm just giving a picture to make a joke here. Don't fall at the feet of a person with a saffron robe, just by looking at them. Evaluate them. Otherwise, you can be fooled just by looks, just by an attire. So this is not a sketch of any particular person. I wanted to just have a generic sketch, and I Googled and got this kind of a generic sketch. What I mean is, some people, oh my God, this person is a sannyasi, we need to go and fall at his feet and ask this one. People always feel that. That's the nature of, at least in the Hindu Dharma, in India, that's what they do. So you need to be very careful. Now we are going deeper. Any questions? Everything okay?
I have a question. Gopalan here. So Krishna, when you say karma, according to Shankaracharya philosophy, only I'm asking, okay? So you are talking about giving up karma, right? So to me, in the karmas, I will articulate the question differently. Okay, so even offering a puja to God, it's a karma to me, right? So even the sannyasi will not do that, or will he only focus on the Atma Sakshatkara, only that? He will never do anything other than that. Is that what you are meaning by that sannyasi, actually, according to Shankaracharya?
There are two aspects there. He can be verily working too, but he does not have the agency connection that he is doing. So let us take karma, like what is Aradhana karma or something. See, Aradhana karma is, you can take it as Vaidika karma. It could be Vaidika. Yajna yagadis are more Vaidika karmas, right? So he may be doing Yajna yagadis, but he does not have the agency. Why is he doing puja? Because of helping others, for Loka Sangraha. Loka Sangraha means to become an example for others. Because he does not want a person with desire, anger and all to give up all the actions, give up the karmas. So he wants to be an example to others. So only when you are mature, you can give up actions. So to help others, to set an example, he can be doing puja and all those things. But he may be a realized person that he is not doing. He is not connected with any action. Does it make sense?
Okay, Krishnaji. I think you told me this, but I still couldn't take it inside. That's why I asked that question again. Now I get clarified on that also. Okay, thank you.
Okay. This is the 2.53. I'm just reviewing Shankarabhashya so that you understand all the fundamentals of Shankarabhashya before we go to chapter 4 and 5. That's fine. Prithvi pratipannate yada stasthiti nischala samadho achala buddhi tada yogam avapsyasi. Here, I was just trying to give you the difference in Shankarabhashya. Shruti Vipratipanna here means Shruti says, oh, you do for getting a child, you do this yajna, for getting rain, you do this yajna, for getting money, you do this yajna, going to heaven, you go do this yajna. There are so many things. Sadhya sadhana, that is, sadhya is goals, and so many goals, and so many paths, and so many methods to achieve goals. The person can get totally confused because of all these things. If a person is calm and he is not confused, he will get yogam avapsyasi. The yoga there is the main thing. Yogam avapsyasi, he gets yoga. What is the yoga? According to Shankaracharya, it is viveka prajna. Viveka is intelligence. It's a very firm knowledge of what is right and what is not right. Samadhim prapsyasi. Viveka prajnam samadhim prapsyasi. Here Shankarabhashya takes yoga as the right, intelligent knowledge, jnana. Tada yogam avapsyasi in Ramanuja Bhashya, just as just for comparison, atmavalokanam avapsyasi. That means he achieves the sight of Atman. Here Atma is Jivatma. Jivatma means he knows that who he is. So he realizes his own self, or he gets a, not exactly realization, but I think he gets a vision of his own self. This is where the difference is in this. The same words of Bhagavad Gita is interpreted slightly differently by two acharyas. For Shankaracharya, what it is the current condition of a samsaric life where we are acting, earning, doing things, hatred, we are in these ups and downs, and I have to get rid of all these things. My goal is Atman Brahman. That's only two things for Shankaracharya. For Ramanujacharya, there is something in between. He says one attains the realization of Jivatma, or the self first, before attaining realization of Paramatma. So we know that that's the difference between these two systems. This is just for you to understand properly. Etadukta bhavati in Ramanuja Bhashya, Shastra Janya Jnana Purvaka Karma Yogaha, Sthita Prajnatakya Jnana Nishtam Apadayati. Whatever said in the Shastra, if the person does Adhyatma Jnana Purvaka Karma Yoga, that is Karma Yoga properly, without offering it to God, without interest in the fruits, offering it to the God and thinking that he is not the doer. If he does that, he will get Sthita Prajnata. That is Jnana Nishta. That means focus on Jivatma. And if he continues with that, Jnana Nishta Rupa Sthita Prajnata, if he continues with the focus on Jivatma, eventually he will get Sthita Prajnata. That means he gets the vision of the self. Sthita Prajnata tu yogakyam atmavalokanam sadhayati. So Sthita Prajnata itself for Ramanujacharya is the vision of the self, vision of his own self, that is Jivatma. So for Shankaracharya, what does Sthita Prajnata mean for Shankaracharya? That we will go further. But in just the previous verse, yoga means Viveka Prajna. Viveka Prajna is given here. Viveka Prajna Samadhim Prapsyasi. So for Viveka Prajna is the right intelligence. For Ramanujacharya, it is Sthita Prajna is Yogakyam Atmavalokanam Sadhayati. It is vision of the self. Understood this difference? Did you get any doubts on this particular slide?
One comment, Krishna, here. I think according to Ramanuja also, because the person who is in the Sthita Prajna state, his buddhi is achalam. So that is why I think he is getting the vision of the Jivatman, right? There also, he also has Viveka Gnana.
You're right. You're right. Perfectly right. So there's only one stop. There's a milestone in between getting Paramatma Sakshatkara, and there is a Jivatma Sakshatkara, or even vision is there's an intermediate milestone. Shankaracharya ignores the intermediate milestone. He just ignores. He is not interested in that milestone. He directly goes to Paramatma Sakshatkara. That's all.
Yeah, it simply seems like, you take this road to get to that building, and Shankaracharya simply talks about the building. I think that's the only difference between Ramanuja and Shankara.
Yes. Mainly that's it. See, in the Sthita Prajnasya ka bhasha samadhistasya keshava sthitadih kim prabhasheta kimasita vrajeta kim. That is the next verse. This is Arjuna's question. In this, so what is the nature of Sthita Prajna? How does he act in this world? What does he do? This is the question, right? In this question, Sthita pratishtita ahamasmi param brahma iti prajna yasya sahasita prajna. For Shankarabhashya, what is the Sthita Prajnatvam is? I have a firm conviction that I am Brahman. That is Sthita Prajna. Because there's nothing else other than Brahman for Shankaracharya. So from the current state, just to know that I am Brahman. That's what is the way Shankaracharya takes it. Sarvan manogatan kaman yada prakarshena jahati tada ayam sthita prajna iti uchyate Ramanuja Bhashya. In the Ramanuja Bhashya, once you give up all the desires completely, then you become a Sthita Prajna in the Ramanuja Bhashya. For Shankara Bhashya, it is I am Brahman. The realization that I am Brahman is Sthita Prajnatva. Simply, I just wrote a small, simple sketch to explain these two concepts. For Ramanujacharya, from the bound state, you give up all the desires and practice Karma Yoga, and you get to the Jivatma Sakshatkara. You first see the Jiva. You first see yourself as who you are and what's the true nature of you. And eventually, by doing Bhakti Yoga, you get to Paramatma milestone. For Shankaracharya, this milestone is ignored. Whether it is there or not is not the question. It's ignored, and it's just directly Paramatma is the only one, and that is only Atma for him. And the Jivatma is there, it's a reflection, it is a little bit less important for Shankaracharya. So Shankaracharya establishes his philosophy of Advaita using a one-legged stool, like what I'm saying, one-legged stool. That is, Brahman itself is the leg. So his whole philosophy rests on Brahman itself, because the rest are unimportant, and he says that is mithya, because eventually that doesn't even exist for you, because you're completely one with Brahman. Here, Ramanujacharya establishes philosophy, the Vishishtadvaita philosophy, using a three-legged stool with Jiva as important, Jada as important, and Ishvara. Jiva is the Jivatmas, Atmans, and Jada is the matter, Ishvara is the Paramatma. So Ramanujacharya explains its philosophy using all these three entities. Any doubts about this? None? Okay, we'll go further. Prajahati yada kaman sarvan parthamanogatan. This is the next verse of Bhagavad Gita. See, I'm going slowly towards the Sthita Prajna issues, just to clarify and clearly establish Shankara philosophy in our own minds. Prajahati yada, if you want me to skip and go faster, you can let me know. Do you think we should just skip this and go quickly and start the 4th chapter with Shankarabhashya?
No, Krishna, I think you can just keep reading through, and if there are no questions, you can just keep on reading through, I guess.
Okay. Prajahati yada kaman sarvan parthamanogatan atmanyev atmanatushta sthita prajnastadachate. Here, Shankarabhashya says Sthita Prajna as Vidvān. That means Sthita Prajna himself is Vidvān according to Shankara. See, look how Shankarabhashya sort of clarifies his position on Vidvān. Who is a Vidvān and who is a Vidvān? Sthita Prajna is a Vidvān according to Shankarabhashya. Here, Atmanyeva Pratyagatma Swarupe Eva Atmana Svenaiva Bhashya Labha Nirapekshaha. Here, what it means is, in the self itself, which is the self common to everybody. And self itself is the happiness. He does not need any outside happiness. So Paramartha Darshana Amrita, he has the ambrosia or amrita of seeing the self. Anyasmad alam pratyavan, outside he had it enough. All the external experiences enough for him. That person is a Sthita Prajna. Pratishtita. Atma anatma vivekaja prajna yasya saha. So Sthita Prajna means knowing of what is self and what is not self. What is Atman, what is not Atman. So this is the view of Shankaracharya here. Ramanujacharya, this is Ramanuja Bhashya, I should have mentioned or be here. Atmani eva atmana manasa atmaika avalambanena tushtaha. Here, the second Atma means manas according to Ramanujacharya. Atmani means Jivatma. So he is happy with his own mind focused on Atman. He is happy and he has given up all the desires. And he is a Sthita Prajna. This is Jnana Nishta Kashta Iyam. This is a stage of Jnana Nishta. This is Ramanuja Bhashya, should have said that. Here there's a small difference. Tani sarvani samyamya yukta asitamat paraha. Vashehi yasyendriyani tasya prajna pratishtata. Here there is a problem, right? Without the Shankaracharya also accepts that there is a problem here, saying that you cannot achieve the jaya on the indriya or win over your senses without seeing Atman. And to see Atman, you have to win over the senses. So there is a catch-22, interdependence, which has to be avoided. So what is the method? In the Ramanuja Bhashya, we saw that focus on Krishna. Yukta asita matparaha. Krishna, Lord is a divine entity. If you focus on the divine entity, your mind will become calm. You will win over your senses. Your purva karmas will be burnt and your mind becomes pure. And then because of lack of desires or because of, desires are all burnt out, the indriyas will come to your control. So you will win over your senses by focusing on Lord Krishna. This is what Krishna, Ramanujacharya says here. But Shankarabhashya says, Tani sarvani samyamya. Samyamana means, what do you call, control your senses. Yuktaha samahitaha sanne. That means realize within yourself, asita matparaha. Here where matparaha means, aham vasudevaha. I am Vasudeva. Vasudeva means here not the son of Vasudeva. Here Vasudeva means that person who exists everywhere. Vasati, Sarvatra, that is Vasudeva. That means he lives everywhere. That is, he is all pervading. Sarva Pratyanga Atma, that is the Atma for everybody in this universe. Paraha Yasya, that is great for him. For whom this ever existent, all present Brahman is highest. Saha Matparaha, that person is an aspirant. Na Anyoham Tasmat, and he realizes, I am not different from Vasudeva. I am not different from Atman. And with that in mind, keep steady. Then you win over your senses. That is, to win over your senses, realize the truth that you are Brahman. That's what is the Shankarabhashya. Did you understand? Any doubts on this slide?
Krishna, could you please step back one slide? I want to see the Ramanuja Bhashya for the previous shloka. I think
this is the previous shloka. I'm skipping shlokas. I'm not saying shloka. This Common is totally like 255, and I'm already jumping into 261. I jumped six shlokas already. So what is your question though? What is your ideology? I can tell you what the meaning is in the previous shloka. I just need to understand what your question is.
Okay, no, I think I understand. I was going to say he is focused on not just the Sthita Prajna, he is focused on himself, but then he understands that the basis of his being is the Paramatma, and he starts focusing on Paramatma. Ramanuja doesn't talk about it, but in the very next slide you talked about it. So I think there is a clear flow of thoughts.
Okay, all right. So from 261, I'm now jumping to 269. Okay, I'm only selecting a few slokas where I see a minor difference between, or some difference between Shankarabhashya and Ramanuja. So that way, that is why I told you this particular, I showed you this particular screen, the pictorial view, that for Shankarabhashya, the Jiva milestone is unimportant. It makes it's like very minor. Then, because Paramatma is so big and so important, this is a very, very minor thing for him. That's the only difference if you can look at it. Approach difference.
Krishna, Suresh here.
Yes.
Whenever we talk about Brahman, according to Shankara, it means Nirguna Brahman, right?
See, yes, pretty much Nirguna Brahman. Here it is only in the Jnana Nishtha portion, that is in the yes, it's Nirguna Brahman. Even Yukta Asita Matparaha also refers to Nirguna Brahman, not, see the good point you brought. See, here Yukta Asita Matparaha means how does he know Nirguna Brahman? Because Nirguna Brahman cannot be focused upon. You cannot meditate or think about Nirguna Brahman. So how do you do it? There is an assumption that there's some stage in between, like Saguna Brahman or something, that might lead, or even focus on Saguna Brahman will lead to Nirguna Brahma realization. That's how they say.
Okay.
Okay. So can we go to the next slide?
One more thing. I mean, this is through the Bhashya itself. So it means to say Nirguna Brahmopasana means Aham Brahmasmi. They have to go according to that particular this thing, formula.
Yes. Yes. Yes.
Okay.
I am not any object. I am not the thoughts in my mind. I am not intelligence. But body, mind, intellect are not me. I'm something different. I am this all-pervading Brahman, Atman. That's what is their view. Okay.
This is here. Just a comment about the Nirguna and Saguna Brahman. So in one of the books, when I was reading about this Kundalini, in that case, it's about Gayatri. So in that case, once you reach above the Ajna Chakra, they say that it's like a Nirakara. So you go for Nirakara Brahman above Ajna Chakra. Until Ajna Chakra, it's Sakara, means with the forms. So with forms and without forms, and Saguna and Nirguna, there is a difference, right? That's what I was thinking about.
Good point you brought. The thing is, this is practically true. Okay. But the thing is, the Nirguna Brahman is a little bit higher than all those things in Shankarabhashya. It's a very powerful end stage. So on the way to that Nirguna Brahman, maybe that Nirakara Brahman is assumed to be Nirguna Brahman. Okay, but see, there are some issues. Why don't we discuss that later? Because it's a much bigger problem. It's not that easy problem there. See, Shankaracharya yoga itself, like Kundalini and all these yogas, it's not explicit in his Bhashyas. He didn't mention much about Kundalini. Prasthanatraya Bhashyas does not have much information about Kundalini or anything. Yoga Taravali is the only thing which might refer to that. And again, many people don't believe that Shankaracharya wrote Yoga Taravali. So there is some complexity there because we are dealing with Bhagavad Gita. That Gayatri issues, see, what you say is sort of acceptable to Rangapaya Swami and those people, and similar that those kind of similar thinking people. But the thing is, it may not be acceptable to the Advaitis who study Shankarabhashya. The Advaita followers may not agree. That's why. Okay.
Because this also comes in the Divine Dancer, the book by Dr. S.V. Chamu. where he post Sriranga Sadguru.
That is true. The thing is, that is a view, right? That is a view from the Sriranga Sadguru and Rangapaya Swami and all these people, all these acharyas view it like that, right? But is that what the Shankaracharya followers agree upon is the question. So the thing is, we have to think about it again, but you're very close to what you're saying, and that sounds right. I also believe that may be the right thing. I firmly believe that what you say is right. I firmly believe it. But really speaking, what do the Advaita followers believe? Or what does Shankarabhashya really? I have not gone through Shankarabhashya in every corner, nook and corner to realize that that's exactly what it means. In fact, I haven't looked at Shankarabhashya where he gives explanations to Gayatri Mantra, Kundalini or anything in any way. Right? I have to verify that actually.
Okay. Because even the Shakta followers, especially one book by Arthur Avalon, maybe a century earlier he had written, and it becomes very confusing once you go on reading.
Don't take that. See, Arthur Avalon is, and also Woodruff. They wrote similar books from the Tantra and Shakta perspective. Okay, but don't take their view as a perfect explanation of Shankaracharya, because they are more tantrikas and they only mainly followed Shaivagamas and tantras and things like that. Whether they knew Advaita Vedanta perfectly well or something, we don't know.
Okay. Sure.
Because I'm following how the current day Advaita followers, like people like Mani Dravid Shastri, or people like Sringeri Jagadguru, or Kamakoti people. Or see, I want to get an idea from these kind of sources. That is why I'm even talking to V. Subramanian, one of my friends who learns from Sringeri Jagadguru and also Mani Dravid Shastri. So I am trying to understand the Shankaracharya views as better and better, better than before, I should say. I'm still a long way to go to perfectly understand what is Bhashya means. Okay.
Thank you.
Okay. How are we doing on time? It is 9:20 now. 1 hour, something like an hour, right? Maybe
Can we finish this slide, Krishna?
Okay, I will finish this slide, okay?
Thank you.
Yanisha sarvabhutanam tasyam jagrati samyami yasyam jagrati bhutani sa nisha pashyato munehe. This verse fundamentally means the world in which people like me are, that is people, ignorant people who are stuck in the samsara, that is like darkness, total ignorance. And yasyam jagrati bhutani sa nisha pashyato munehe. For a realized Muni, all this, the world of Indriyas and the experience, senses and sense objects is darkness, because he is alive and he is awake in a different universe, which is the Atma universe. He is realized person. That's the general meaning of it. Let us take Shankarabhashya. Nahi Atma Swarupa Adhigame Sati Punaha Pramana Prameya Vyavaharaha Sambhavati. This is a very important point. That's why I wanted to explain this. See, moment a person understands, realizes this Atma Swarupa, there is no question of Pramana, Prameya. What is Pramana? Veda, Shastras, all Shruti, everything is Pramana. Prameya is known. That is the Paramatma, Atman is the object to be known. The means to know object, the knower, all these things will fall away. Pramatratvam hi Atmanaha nivartayati. I am the knower. That knowership will go away. Antyam pramanam nivartayadevacha apramani bhavati. Even the Shrutis, which is the Antya Pramana, that is this final testimony. Pramana is a knowledge source. Even that source becomes gone, because I am Brahman. Where is the Shruti? Shruti is not there. Swapnakala Pramanamiva. We are in this a world of dream. In this dream world, you see the Vedas. Your dream world, you think that you are the knower. In the dream world, you see that, oh, there's an object to be known, and I need to use the Shrutis to go towards the known. But once this realization occurs, the dream is gone, and with the dream, the no-worship is gone, the Vedas are gone, the goal to be achieved is gone, because the goal is already achieved. Lokecha vastvadigame pravritti hetutvad hetutva darshanat pramanasya tasmat na atmavidaha karmanyadhikara iti siddham. Because if there is no Vedas, if there is no actions to be done, nobody saying that you need to act, you're already on that state, in that state. So Atmavit, is you become an Atmavit, is knower of Brahman, knower of Atman, karmani adhikara hiti siddham. So na Atmavidaha karmani adhikara iti siddham. That means for a Atmajnani, he does not have to do works, because there is no Shastra which is telling him to work. There is no work, and he is just one. This is Shankarabhashya. Same thing explained in Ramanuja Bhashya, slightly different. Ya Atma Vishaya Buddhihi Sarvabhutanam Nisha Iva. That is, the knowledge of the Jivatma is so powerful that we, bound in the ordinary life of senses and sense objects, ups and downs, hatred, all these things, we don't know that how that Atman is, because we have never seen that. This is all darkness. Tasyam Atma Vishayam Buddhau Indriya Samyami Prasannamana Jagarti. The person who controls his senses, Indriya Sami, that is, who is won over his senses, who has Prasannamana, pleasant mind, which does not go after any desires. Atmanam avalokayan aste, he realizes and sees the Jivatma. He realizes the Jivatma, he knows the presence of Jivatma, he knows what it is. Yasyam Shabdadi Vishayam Buddha Sarvani Bhutani Jagarti. In the other beings are always in the world of senses like touch, hearing, sound, tasting. All these enjoyments are experiences. All these beings are in that world. Sa Shabdadi Vishya Buddhi Atmanam Pashito Munehe Nishayava. That is like darkness to the Muni who is seeing the Atman. Aprakashika Bhavati. That is, the world becomes less important, almost like darkness for that Muni. These are two different views from these two acharyas. Just wanted to mention. Any question on this? Did you understand the evaporating or sublation of this pramana, pramatra, the knower, the known, the person who needs to use a shruti to go get to the known? All these things are dissolved in the dream state once the person gets realization that he is Atman only. Is that clear?
I have a question here.
Okay.
When Shankara says the knowership also goes, then what remains then?
What did you ask? What remains what?
When the knowership also is gone, he says, you said even the knowership goes away, right?
Yes.
So what remains then at that particular,
only Atman. See, this knowership itself is adhyasta. Adhyasta means superimposed on Brahman. Brahman is
how that means to say, even though the knowership is gone, but still Atma, Satyam, Gnanam, Anantam, Brahma. Atman is Satyam and Gnanam. How is that known then?
That is why Shankaracharya says Satyam does not refer to truth or something like that. Satyam means Asat Vyavrittam. He is other than Asat. He is different from non-existent. Jnanam means he is different from Jada. For Satyam Jnanam Anantam, he is Anantam Brahma. Anantam he is different from finite. He will never say what is the nature of Brahman, because Brahman does not have dharma, nirdharmaka, nirguna. You cannot talk about Brahman positively or even describe Brahman in any way. So no Shastras can describe who Brahman is. They can only describe who Brahman is not.
Then that does it mean that gnanam, that let us say now we know that aham janami, I know, that we can tell, that itself is gone then?
Yes.
That
Yes. Pramata is gone. Aham janami is gone.
So so Krishna, is this where we talked about earlier, the knower, the what is being known, and the path of knowledge, everything becomes one. Yeah, it all fuses.
Exactly. Jnatra, Jnaya, Jnana, all becomes one. Triputi, Laya. This is known as Triputi. Triputi is three. Triputi is Jnana, Jnatra, Jnaya. Jnana is the means to know. Jnatra is the knower. Jnaya is the object. These three becomes one, that is Atman only. And there is no knowing at that time. I told you about the how a person forgets themselves while watching a movie. You get associated with a movie character, and you start crying when that person cries. When you're happy when that person is happy. So you become that, and there's nothing else.
it is just like a sudden freeze.
What
I
is
don't
that?
know. Maybe it sounds like a sudden freeze. Immediately something is frozen.
Yes, yes, yes. But such a person, even though he is realized, can be acting in the world till his final body prarabdha continues to exist. Like how a giant wheel, when it is rotating, and you shut off the electric current to it, it still rotates because of the momentum, right? Like that, because of the prarabdha, this can go further. This is the view of Advaita. So that such a person, like even a Saguna Brahma for them, Krishna is acting and he goes away. Afterwards, is only Atman. So there is no form, there is no features.
So Krishna, I have a question about Nirguna. So Saguna, we all understand and agree, that's all we pray to every day and do our adhana and so on and so forth. So Saguna is kind of sort of defined. I don't want to say well defined, but we have our own definitions of what Saguna Brahma is. So to somebody's point earlier, when we go beyond the Ajna Chakra, we reach beyond the Saguna, we get to a state where we cannot ascertain and describe the nature of its being. That doesn't mean it doesn't have a nature. It simply means it's beyond description. That is what Nirguna is.
Exactly, you're right. So that's what Prashant was saying, I think. Right?
Yes, Prashant. Yes.
So you're right, but I don't want to. I don't see this is agreed upon by pretty much many, even Advaita Sannyasis, right? But formally, do they agree with it? Because, see, the moment you say that formless, but you know that it has got a lot of characteristics. The moment you say characteristics, that means it becomes Saguna. Then it cannot be Nirguna Brahman.
Even in Advaita is right. I mean, it's not probably Pramana or anything, but the Siddha says, Kandavar Vendadillai, meaning those that have really seen the Brahman have never been able to speak about it.
Correct.
Yeah.
Correct.
Yeah.
So
Also thinking
that is true. That's true. We can say for all practical purposes, to be between you and me, I believe that is what they are calling as Nirguna Brahman, between you and me.
Yes.
But whether their followers completely agree with it, I want to ascertain, talk to many people, and then because they are a little bit not so open-minded about yoga or Kundalini or this Agnya Chakra, Bru Yuga Tita Drishti. See, all these are agreeable to our acharyas and also particularly Rangapriya Swami and his gurus and everybody, they have agreed with this kind of a view. But whether the formal Advaita followers and very knowledgeable jnanis in their this one, do they agree with it or not? We don't know.
See, you talked about this in class 8 also, Krishna. You talked about this in class 8 also, when somebody truly experiences, he cannot teach anybody else.
Yeah. You
right?
cannot.
So what is explained in scriptures can be understood and explained to everybody. We can write books about it, talk about it. That is Saguna Brahman. And once you start practicing it, when what you experience it, that is Nirguna Brahman. Because you can only you can experience it inside yourself. You cannot translate that to any language in the world and speak about it.
You can roughly go with this for now.
Yeah. Yeah.
Then
Yes.
that means there is no worship, right?
There is no worship.
No, but if one can experience something which is undescribable, then that means to experience we have to know.
So there is a difference between experiencing and knowing, right?
No, unless and until you know that your experience, you will be knowing, right? I mean, they go together, I think.
Yes, yes.
I am
You know
experiencing.
you're experiencing, but what I'm saying is it's something beyond thoughts and words.
No, that's
Yeah.
true. But what Shankara says is not. He even loses the no-worship. That means is it equivalent to ajadatva? That is what we get when we finish.
Some of the great acharyas say that at that time there is no difference between the experience and the experiencer. So
Definitely. That's what Tripudi Laya according to Advaita is that shit. That is.
and maybe that is the same as what Buddha says about shunya. So when
That we don't want to extrapolate quickly, right? Because they will
okay,
say, according to what? To show me the proof that that is exactly same as this. Show me. Then you will have a big headache of going and looking at all Buddha's words which were never written down and starting proving that this is what he said. You don't want to do that.
okay, sure.
Yeah. So Buddha, in a way, you are right, because Buddha also mentions about Brahma Nirvana, and in Brahma Nirvana he talks about peace. So in many Nirvanam Paramam Sukham, Nirvanam Paramam Sukham, he says that. So you're sort of right, but we don't want to commit for that. That's why we don't want to commit. That's all.
Thank you.
Okay, all right. We will. अस्मद्गुरुभ्यो नमः अस्मत्परमगुरुभ्यो नमः अस्मत्सर्वगुरुभ्यो नमः श्री कृष्ण परब्रह्मणे नमः श्री लक्ष्मी नृसिंह परब्रह्मणे नमः श्री लक्ष्मी हायवर्धन परब्रह्मणे नमः सर्वं श्री कृष्णार्पणमस्तु. Hope this was useful, or was it boring review of the old already finished information?
It was
It was
I like the comparison right there between both the bhashyas. So I think this is perfect model.
Krishna, for Manda Buddhis like me, I would need to probably read and reread. And could you please post these slides for us to retrieve?
I will post this page very soon. Let me do that tomorrow sometime. Today is getting very late. Tomorrow
Thank you,
sometime post this. Yeah. By the way, I am also making things clear in my own mind by doing all these studies. It's becoming clearer for me. That's
and this is helping us, maybe all of us, I would say,
yeah.
studying
Great.
all the class. Yeah.
Ah, okay. Namaskar.